Thank you all so much for being here on our second Zoom reading. Poetry Street was founded by Susan Dingle and Robert Bubby Brown as a project of the Eastern Arts Jumpstart Program to help revitalize downtown Riverhead by providing a public arts project in a local business, the Blue Duck Bakery Cafe. And ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I'm going to introduce you to one of the founders of Poetry Street, Susan Dingle.
Hi, everybody. Thank you, Chip, for bringing Poetry Street to this new platform for the second time. You said everything about the beginning of Poetry Street, and I just want to say that in 2014, Bobby Brown and I co-founded Poetry Street, and in our seventh year, I'm so glad to say that Chip and Maggie are running the show, but I still get to say, welcome to Poetry Street. Our first reading in June 2014 was Juneteenth. And over the next 5 years, we grew into an amazing community of poets from all over Long Island and beyond. Chip and Maggie and Gladys joined us as co-hosts with Julie Scarr and Melissa Longo as our trusty interns. In 2017, Poetry Street went on the road, and we invited 18 poets who had featured or performed at Poetry Street to feature in the YouTube series Poetry Street on the Road Season 1, which has 9 episodes, thanks to Chip Williford, our marvelous videographer. He also selected his favorite pieces for Poetry Street on the Road, the film. And for further details, you can check out our new website, which Chip will say more about later. I just want to say that from the very get-go, a higher power has blessed Poetry Street. So I feel like it's appropriate to open with a word of thanks and just say, dear Lord, thank you for bringing us together today. Bless each poet and each listener, that we may love our neighbor as ourselves, and that just mercy will prevail in our land, and that we will at last be united in dignity, respect, and justice, where every voice is heard, a message of reconciliation and healing, e pluribus unum, out of many, one. Thank you, Chip. Thank you, Maggie. Thank you all for being here.
Thank you, Susan. In Native American tradition, a land welcoming is offered to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land, the first people of this land, America. To offer this land welcome, I've invited Jerome McKelvin. Jerome McKelvin is a descendant of the people of the Yamacraw, Choctaw, Geechee, Chiraw, and Tla'ache. Ladies and gentlemen, Jerome McKelvin.
Thank you, Chip. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, great. As Chip said, whenever we embark on any endeavors, anything with regards to invoking a good spirit, invoking teamwork, leadership, all of those principles in each individual, we always want to acknowledge the Creator for what He's bestowed upon us. With all reverence and gratitude to Creator for the blessings bestowed upon us on these sacred grounds that we call our home, we thank Him for our ancestors all across each state and the archipelago of the Caribbean islands and beyond. For they left the instructions handed down by signs in nature and in the heavens. We give special gratitude to our extended Lenape family here in New York for the ability to live and situate ourselves in their ancestral homelands. There were many tribal nations living together in the Americas for countless thousands of years prior to European encroachment, which underlined the wars, forced enslavement, and migrations in the 17th century and led to the Dutch West India Company to acquire a stronghold of land from the Lenape nation. They renamed it New Amsterdam and subsequently New York after the Anglo-Dutch Wars. Although there have been many countless tribal nations lost because of the aforementioned reasons, there are still many descendants of the ancestors who lived nurture, and protect the homelands, oral histories, and way of life. As a new day is upon us, it is vitally imperative that we acknowledge our history in order that we preserve the lessons of our past to make way for a restoration of peace and balance for a more prosperous future that we can all benefit from and enjoy together in our pursuit of happiness. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ron. Before we get started, I just want to ask those that want to read during our open mic that you please send me a chat with your name and your location. I already see some people signing up and I really appreciate that. And now, without further ado, I would like to introduce you to my co-host. This wonderful lady won an Emmy for her work on Sesame Street, and she wrote a book, and she'll tell you all about her book. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to introduce you to Maggie Bloomfield, who will introduce our featured poet. Maggie.
Hi, everybody. Welcome. You know, when we lost our venue last year, which was the Blue Duck Bakery, we were all kind of heartbroken and didn't know quite how to proceed. And we looked at a lot of different options. And then COVID hit, and Zoom became the venue of the day. And we are so happy that we have a place to continue this wonderful, wonderful poetry event monthly, I hope, for 7 more years at least. I am going to introduce our first feature. I just love this man. Let me start by saying that. Russ Green has been co-editor at Great Weather for Media. He's put on poetry and arts events around Long Island and New York City, often as fundraisers for humanitarian and social justice organizations. In addition, Russ hosted and curated poetry stages at various festivals and has read his book from all over the country, really. His book is called Give Me Back My Radio, and it's out with Night Ballet Press. Currently, he runs a workshop with poet Christina Rao called South Bay Sundays, and also hosts and curates poetry and music events in Port Jeff called Saturdays on the Sound. He's long been a regular here at Poetry Street. We've heard him feature a few times, but not for a long time, and we're thrilled to hear him today. Russ Green.
Thank you, Maggie. And thank you, Susan and Chip and Gladys and everybody for coming. And I'm just so glad this is going on for so long and we're persevering through the COVID thing. And, you know, onward, man. You know, you can't keep the poets down. So, yeah, I have a bunch of poems, and I have a new poem, actually. I'm gonna see if I can tell me if you can still see me on the screen. Okay. Okay. I might combination sit and stand. Am I close enough to the screen? Does this work? Okay. All righty. So yeah, I got some old stuff and some not so old stuff and some newer stuff. And I tried to pick some poems that y'all haven't heard in a while. And if you stick around till the end, I got a new one. All righty. So yeah, let's get right into it. Because you know, those of you who know me a long time know that I have a natural proclivity to ramble, so I will try to put a lid on that. But I'm just, I've always said for so long that, you know, I always feel my real true family is my poet family. So I feel like I'm with my family now. So just thank you from the bottom of my heart for being here. All righty. Here's an old familiar one. Uh, sultry tongues of the swampland. I met her in Cajun country in the heart of the swamplands, where they eat boiled crawfish for breakfast. She had that sad-eyed lady of the lowlands look in her eyes. She had that indefinite sultriness of the steamy night in the kitchen of her language. She had the strings of Cajun fiddles in her veins and accordion rhythms on her tongue. She told me never to sleep under the full moon, lest you become moon mad. She told me to hang a mirror on the front porch to keep the devil away. I couldn't fathom the depths of her incendiary incarnation. Her aura was a chili pepper mist rising up out of the smoky, wet Spanish moss in the mischievous moonlight. Her mysteries were hidden in the sanguine ripples of the setting sun, reflecting off of every backwater bayou, clear off the balconies and balustrades the Canadians made with the ghosts of sensuous Creole women's colorful, thin dresses swaying under lonely wrought iron French streetlights in the quarter. She spoke of voodoo priests and priestesses with names like Queen Bianca and Bloody Mary Milan, a Haitian holy man who threw off his coat like James Brown threw off his cape. There were snake dancers and sequin flag makers, people who came just to see the boa constrictor Ava K. Jones used to bring victory to the saints. There were naked body parts waving in the breeze, begging for blessings from the crew of Zulu. All of this time I could sense the touch of her skin and that she had a velvet sensitivity for everything I was thinking. My thoughts rolled down her tropical, feathery waves of hair like a firefly hitching a ride on a piece of driftwood in the backwood creeks where there were catfish clamoring for some understanding between daylight and the possibility of finding some meaning in the ominous, heavy, isolating air of Louisiana darkness. I looked at her almost blending in with the gnarled cypress trees and beaver leaves and said, "How'd you come to look so sad?" That was sultry. I just call it my swamp poem. Sultry tongues of the swamplands, yes. Okay, all right. Got that out of the way. I think I'll do another kind of older one, Fire Song. Well, most of them older ones. Fire Song, and then we'll get to a little bit newer one. Fire in the belly of a one-man relief army in Gatlinburg. Fire in the wounds of the locals who fled the burning hills and hollers of those Tennessee towns. Fire won't ask you who you voted for before it consumes everything you knew. Fire won't ask you why you have no desire to run from the flames. Fire won't ask you about the cutting on your forearms and legs. It won't ask you about the childhood scars that cut so deep into your emotional cavity that you can't trust the burning embers of that longed-for first kiss. Fire, in the words of the digital battleground, civility and kinship charred among the remains. Fire won't ask you about the rocks in your stomach that won't allow you to eat after your best friend turned his back on you, leaving you curled up and weeping for days at the end of that broken down old fishing dock where you used to write poems together on Sundays. Fire on the tongue of a construction worker singing folk songs in Detroit while nobody knew but for a whole country of South Africa, and they turned him into an anti-apartheid icon. Guitar-picked fingernails in the working man's wheel with the dust and soot of that city pulsing through and down to his capillaries. A song about a teenager having sex that sparked a revolution. Fire in the sheets of a bed-in Montreal lasting 2 weeks just to try to give peace a goddamn chance. The image singed with the memory of gunfire splitting open the Upper West Side night. Can't get my pages apart. Fire in every syllable of a civil rights savior come to Memphis to stand with the sanitation workers. The fire that burns still through the words of Maya Ta-Nehisi Michelle and the thin bones of a liberator making his own salt from the sea, in the restless hands of a nun in Calcutta, in the fire dancers just commingling cultures, creating a world without collisions. Fire in the feet of the marching protesters on Fifth Avenue, building their tower of song for the South Shore social workers, teachers, singers, and salutatorians, marine biologists too late to save the washed-up beached whale on the South Fork of this divided island, and the burning need to stick a fork in both forks that are overdone east end of white privilege. Chants for the word mavens telling its slant. Fire in the third chakra on a yoga mat in Killington, channeling the chi, the life force, balancing the breath into hope. Kelly's telling me, toss the poems on the floor. All right. So, yeah, a lot of my poems have to do with place too. So definitely this one. And speaking of Kelly, she's the Kelly family figures in this poem. Montauk. She knew a shortcut from the moon. She took the back way. She gave pennies for poems and sharpened pencils on an old schoolroom crank. There were 30 of them in her bag at any given time, and they were all sharp enough to pierce the heart of a bug-killing bard. There were Malbecs in Montauk with her family and 3 different kinds of potatoes. I got protest on the mind. 3 different kinds of potatoes, because there was a potato war in the kitchen between her sister and her in-law. Surfers rode waves projected on the wall over the roaring Thanksgiving fireplace, hip-hop banana rock on the beach with the niece dancing and singing in great-grandma's fur-lined coat, tours of the abandoned World War II German hunting radar installation with the nephew. Grandma set up house with us in the big old manor on the hill. It was 20-something with a wind chill of minus ridiculous blowing off that great Peconic Bay. Even, enough to stick a fork into fall between those 2 big forks and fork over a gravy boat full of winter. We had a delicate sense of the raw salt wind breathing heavy into wounds. And don't you know the womb is made of chi? That's the Chinese word for life energy. And it was there bleeding out of every corpuscle of broccoli, bread, cranberry, and crouton that any ocean would have been hanging on to by the thinnest of threads. It was about this time that the relevance of clean, clear communication between the water's edge and the falling leaf was becoming undeniable. The genuineness of endings and beginnings was inimitable as the summer swan dive into family sing-alongs and car rides along the Connecticut River. The sanguine sequence of falling mercury sent shivers down an already traumatized spine, and the gulls gathering on the sea rocks hardly noticed. They were flapping their feathers in time with the wayward wind of knowing, with Robin's Island looking on. All righty. Yeah, so here's a really old poem. I think a lot of you may not have ever even heard this one. I think I mentioned John Lennon in one of the poems I just read. So yeah, I actually read this in Zuccotti Park. Somebody filmed me. It's out there on YouTube land somewhere during the Occupy movement. Yeah, it was on the 30th anniversary of the death of John Lennon, and there was a special celebration in Central Park with Lou Reed and some others. Lou Reed, who we lost too. All right, last great American lover. 30 years since our guru of peace was taken down, 30 years since all our hopes were blown to pieces on a 72nd Street sidewalk, JFK assassination of my time. I was 12. I was getting ready for school next morning when my father came to me half dressed in our safe little suburban hallway outside my safe little suburban bedroom to tell me John Lennon was shot last night. Checks signed by Yoko still sitting on his desk for tree work done on their Laurel Hollow property. Man of passion, man of power, power to heal a war-torn American psyche, power to the people to wage peace upon the world. I stand here now in this park among thousands in that year, 2010. They've come to echo the yearning of America to have someone, anyone, to believe in again in this Obama nation of false messiahs, last great leader of the working man and woman, last great American lover, lover of the wrongly accused, abused, John Sinclair, sprung from jail and made the news, lover of the ugly, lover of the lovely, lover of all things Yoko, lover of New York City. John Lennon believed in New York City when no one believed in New York City. Crime-ridden stoner city of the 70s, hero of everything America knows it can be, again, hero of the unsung corners of Whitman's I Hear America Singing, the mechanics and carpenters singing, give me some truth. The delicious singing of mothers and young wives, all you need is love. I feel alone among the crowd, thinking of election day, thinking of legalized mass murder served up on a star-spangled silver platter, tortured to perfection, your choice, Afghani or Iraqi style. I'm thinking of economic implosion, 9/11 planned implosion of morality, spirituality, wondering, where's our John Lennon of today? Who'll imagine a country with no foreclosures, imagine politicians with something on their mind other than Oval Office, cigar sex, Wall Street, screw the working people while I have my big bonus orgasm and let the poets and paupers clean up after me mentality? I hope one day we'll stand up and foreclose on the White House for once. All right. Okay. My lovely assistant telling me I'm getting near time. All right. So this is going to be the last one. So this is the new poem. Your reward for sticking around. All right. Orient Point. Lemon rinds and car rides, birth family, adopted family, family lost, family, mother lost. The citrus sits on the lap of my safe, seductive dream. The ends and the onwards, hollow body, lump throat, lack of eating, the leaky cup where I wear my wounds like a crushed velvet in the rain, and it welcomes me by the sultry harbor. Foggy moon craters teach lessons from their bright space and blackness. Bright space, black sky. Now the morning of lavender fields is purpling, apocalyptic anxiety. The tiny crate-filled cafe around the corner with its tiny tables and tiny chairs on the tiny careless road, handing my tongue's anticipation through the tiny window, the thin dough draped in a hair-clip Russian accent. It's a long, narrow road back, but she's got the wheel and I've got the radio, and even the burnt sienna end of day reflections on the farm stands, pavement, and sleepy trees cannot deny the rush that comes with tomorrow's light. Thank you, thank you.
Awesome.
And that's what I
Thank you, Russ. Thank you. That was just sensational. I will turn this back over to Chip. But Russ, it's always wonderful to hear you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Maggie, and thank you so much, Russ. You are incredible. And for those who don't know, Russ is our first poet on the Poetry Street on the Road. There are 9 episodes, and Russ is on the first episode of Poetry Street on the Road, and it's on YouTube. And it's also going to be on our website, which is poetrystreetontheroad.com. I was going to open the open mic, but I need some more people to sign up to read their poems. So if you would, please send me a message saying that you want to read your poem, okay? So I would really appreciate that. In the meantime, I'm going to introduce you to someone that is just awesome. His name is James. He's a young man, and he is woke. Ladies and gentlemen, James Smith.
How you doing, everybody? Can everybody hear me?
Oh, yeah, man. You're good.
Good. Thank you for having me, first of all, Susan, Maggie, Chip. I appreciate it.
I can't see your head.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, James.
How you doing? Hey, man, you was wonderful, man.
Thanks. I'm looking forward to hearing you all week, man.
I always look forward to hearing James.
The first poem I'm going to do, it's called Black on Black. I was inspired to write it because I was thinking about how close we was during slavery and the civil rights era and how we kind of diverted from that. after that. So I want to know what happened. My brother's black and back in trying to get a reaction. Snapping, then they strapped in, letting my brothers have it. No lacking, but they latched in. Those bullets stuck like magnets. But on boats, we was packed in and treated just like a savage. No Google Maps then, we was meeting behind the cabin. Barely had clothes, now we in leather and satin. With all that being said, I guess I'll be asking, where we changed up? We was a team, that was anger, we bangers. Gang signs and middle fingers. Treating my brothers and sisters just like they strangers. Now we see each other and start thinking it's danger. Like an unwritten rule and no contract. Beyond that, we feel weird at eye contact. This all facts. Look both ways where you park at. Can't even start a conversation, they might not talk back. When we was heaven gated, got killed and levitated, it's safe to say we were closer during segregation. Now we complaining how other races are dominating. And even though reparations ain't been compensated, we can make a way. We gotta do more than pray going day by day. Straight blacks and black gays, if we link up, kind of how we was when we was beat up, picking buckwheat up, and also marching the streets up, we be in the same boat, but float our own rivers. Instead of strangers on the streets, we could be brothers and sisters. If not, things won't change. I guess that gets us conflicted because instead of linking up, we look at each other as niggas.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. This next poem I'm gonna do is called Life and Business. I made this poem while thinking how the world would socialize with each other a lot more peacefully if we treat each other like family rather than like employees. You don't treat the person you work with the same way you treat someone that's in your family directly. So if we all treat each other like we're all family, the world will be a better place. You're meeting the everlasting bond that's halfway calm with my heart on my sleeve like it was tatted on my arm. Smile on my face even when I'm doing wrong, but it's only expressed when I put it in a song that would even stay strong with his prison sentence long. The smell of fear is on me, but I spray it with cologne. I told my mom I'll be back when I was leaving home, because people want to doubt me and I want to prove them wrong. My mind still moves to my past and it hurts. Late effects from that vaccine injected at my birth, but my mom think I'm protected if I walk into a church. Heard it in the other room, just praying that it works. People that didn't like me was praying for the worst. The blood boils in my body, but it's covered with a shirt. Half the people in the world living life with the perks. The other half got food stamps and waiting on the first. But what's the point of having merchandise when your pockets pay the price of people working day and night so they don't lose their lights? You want to help them do the fight? Nah, you taking flights and having fun while living life. But you ain't thinking right. Don't be ashamed. It's not just you that do what you do. You've been brainwashed since age 2 because it was done to you. Colleges and private schools is a business too. You graduate and pay your dues, that loan tuition due. So now all that time that you've been learning, got to give it right back from your current earnings. Money for the car, for the rent and insurance. Money for offering when you're listening to a sermon. Buying a house is key, but they want you to lease it. They know it appreciates, but you can't appreciate shit. They got cure for cancer and AIDS, but keep it secret because there's no money in the cure, but there's money for the treatment. That's why now I separate life and business. I just came to speak today so I can grab a witness. I hope you get it. Life would be different if we explore these people as a family instead of treated like employees.
That's awesome. I know you got more.
Yeah, I got a couple more.
Okay. Don't get tired on me.
The next poem I'm gonna do is called America. It's actually the first poem I ever performed at Blue Dot. I initially wrote it because from the outside looking in, America's just this amazing country that runs the world, but it's just so much hypocrisy in it. I'm from a place that'll jail you for selling raw, then jail you if you oppose the war. Go overseas, fight for murder and extortion, then come back home and say murder is abortion. There's a small portion of positive outsourcing, but the immigration unit wants you out by the morning. Damn, now you deported. Meanwhile, the rest of the blacks are getting slaughtered. From castrations and lynches, my family got tortured, left the boat in chains and sold at the border, fulfilling their orders like driving the chariots, the slave patrol looking for Nat Turners and Harriets. My bloodline came from blacks that broke barriers. Now that I broke bread, tell me how you gonna carry it? Pass laws that don't change my outcome. How come? Maybe because you don't want to get outdone. They don't want to see money to minorities, or better yet, see minorities turn into majorities. Don't try to pop my population or try to shorten my life cycle stages. I'm just trying to spread knowledge to people of all ages to keep your eyes open so you can focus on amazement.
That's so awesome. That's so awesome.
Thank you so much. I got like, how much time I got left?
You can have like two more be great.
Two more? All right.
Yeah, slow down though. Slow it down.
Slow it down, slow it. All right. I'm
All
slow
right.
it down a little bit. This next poem.
Back up.
This next poem is Central Park 5. I was inspired from When They See Us on Netflix. If you haven't seen it, it's about the Central Park 5 that was wrongly convicted of raping a white woman in Central Park. And once I seen this, it really inspired me to write it. So, juggling my balances with wages that's average. With some African Americans they labeled as savages. Running laps to make us relapse, they trying to rattle us. Throwing rocks at our name while the media battles us. Try to challenge the challengers. They say we challenge their reading. It's a challenge to remember the false food that you feed us, which in misdirections won't be fooled when y'all mislead us. Thoughts of violent repercussions from the way y'all treat us and the way y'all beat us. This past my grievance. It didn't take me long to know y'all anti-freedom. Was the antibacterial to test their hands when the cops shoot my brothers in his car on cam? When his hand straight up, or maybe this one ran, and that's enough to take a life, man. I'll be damned. How do you harness your hate, knowing that your life's fate really ain't in your hands and it ain't for debate? Wait. Try to maneuver in a world that's similar to manure, where commercials eat emotions that they target consumers. Target on your back when you walk into the front and catch an unexpected hit. It's like you was driving drunk. My aunt told me be aware of my surroundings, but I'll surrender if I'm surrounded by 1,000 sirens. Let them take me in, not trying to put up a fight. Tell me to answer some questions when I don't know my rights. Now they dimming the lights that got me writing a statement. Risking it all now like I gambled in Vegas. I knowingly waived my right to an attorney because they told me I'd be just fine. Don't worry. I'm crying. God, hurry. Give me back the chicken, fried, baked, the curry. Don't want to be here snacking on bologna, labeled a criminal by those that don't know me. My eyes open and I never escape these walls. Like the crime bill 94 racist laws. While the people that put me here and now smoking cigars, I'm making 8 cents an hour doing life behind bars. Thank you. I had to snap myself. I'm gonna do one more.
Okay.
I don't really have a title for the song, but it was made when I thought of how we as grown adults still don't know right. Still, we do know right from wrong, and even though we do know right from wrong, there's still so much malice and crimes and just negativity in the air. And it's like, it really made me think of, if we're adults and we all know right from wrong, then why is the world still how it is? So this is what I'd say about it. It's the Quran with the Bible. One of the disciples from the outside looking in, I'm just trying to break the cycle of the hater and the hatred. When we had Ronald Reagan ambush the hood and try to put our faces to the pavement, we can make a difference, is what everybody's saying. But if everybody knows, then how our lives getting taken. I'm shaking, not in fear, but because of the atmosphere. I feel like Cleveland when LeBron left the Cavaliers, like, where do we go now when I'm looking for help? I change everybody's thinking, but that starts with myself. Make sure everybody breathes and acknowledge is love, more than jealousy and violence. That hit harder than drugs. Stay to yourself. Don't care what the next man makes. Scared straight. Change that feeling into a handshake. For God's sakes, let's get back to what really matters. Less violent chatter, but more smiles and laughter after work. Make moves that really end with a purpose. We don't need misdemeanors for community service. 40 hours a week we spend just on working. The weekend, hit the club and start grinding and twerking. Yeah, been there, done that. Looking back like, what was that? I was more focused as a kid watching Rugrats. No dog tats on me too, because that ain't how we do. I'm here to fellowship and spread love like Hebrews. I don't bust clips or spread love and be true and stop the games like a whistle the referee blew. Games for the kids, winners and losers they bring. But the Bible said put away childish things. So let's put away the jewelry and the so-called bling and substitute them from crowns because we queens and kings.
Thank you so much, James. You are just like so awesome. Oh, so awesome. I just love, love hearing you.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you so much. And once again, if you want to hear more from James, you can check him out because we recorded him last month on our Juneteenth Black Lives Matter show on last month. And you can see him on poetrystreetontheroad.com. Okay, now we're going to hit you with a 1, 2, 3 punch. Anastasia's here. She is a writer. You can check her out on her blog, and I'm going to get Anastasia to tell you all about everything she does, and then she's going to share with you some of her poetry. Okay? And James, hopefully during the open mic, you'll come back with one more, okay?
I might have to.
All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to introduce you to Anastasia.
Thank you so much, Chip. Thanks for having me. I'm so excited. This is my first time sharing with all of you and hearing your wonderful works.
I am so excited. Wait a minute, hold on a second. I am so excited about you on this platform. I met Anastasia during the celebration of, it was the offering.
When we went to the ocean.
When we went to the ocean, we were giving gifts for our African ancestors. Helen Hickenbotham, who's also another wonderful writer. She's an attorney, but she's also a wonderful writer. She has a blog, so please check her out. And later on, afterwards, we'll get Helen to send her information in so everyone can read Helen, and everyone must read Anastasia. Okay, Anastasia, back to you. You can tell us about your blog as well as your poetry.
Yeah, and so this is perfect timing because I actually recently brought out my book, Delusions of Grandeur. Okay, this is the not for resale copy, but it's now available on Amazon. And so I'm so excited to share a couple of my poems that are in this book. Usually I would say my niche is racial justice, but I think today it's the weekend. I'm just kind of remembering that I'm a whole person apart from being racialized. And so I want to share one of my kind of more sexual poems a little bit today.
Awesome.
So
I think we're all adults.
Right.
If not, they're going to learn about it anyway, so go ahead for it.
Okay, so I'm going to start with the thought of you. You live in my mind, a phantom resurfacing in hidden moments and public spaces alike. I see you, beaming with contentment as you stroke the soft fur of Kitty's body. I hear your voice tremble with the weight of your anger. I feel your laughter bubbling within as I lay on your chest. Yet, I have never known you. I've never experienced your smell, your taste, your touch, and I will never have the chance to. You do not love me because I was never your type. My body was always too slender for the curves you fawned over. I wasn't funny enough, quirky enough, intelligent enough to grasp you, to capture your interest. There were women who sparked your flame, and there may be the one who will manage to tame the beast, the mad genius, the hopeless Casanova inside. But I would have been glad to be your plaything. Because here I am, months, years, decades later, still thinking of you, still remembering the reservation of your smile, the days we exchanged words, the spark that was never quite there. A woman delirious from the loss of what was never mine, a pathetic soul forced to worship at the shrine of the unrequited, to pine and be ignored, to travel the world and be successful and stand before crowds and still be haunted by that small, serene image of the one I cannot have. What if, in some magical turn of events, you decided you loved me? Or even better, what if you'd wanted me all along? What if one day you rose with the sun, fervent and awake and intoxicated by my touch? What if we got so close that I could finally see your flaws, raw, unfiltered, bleeding from your pores? What if I got you and then decided I didn't want you after all? You're still only human. You're still just a representation of everything I am not meant to possess. Reminder of my limitations. For my own selfish needs, I would likely love you and leave you, adore you and abhor you, and feed off the pain reflected in your brown eyes. Perhaps I love you. Perhaps I love the possibility of you one day loving me. Perhaps I'll live my entire life with the insanity of never knowing which it could be.
Wow, awesome.
Girl, you gonna make me take
My
up
light just
poetry.
went
That
out.
was good.
My light just went out, so I'm gonna go to Melissa Longo. That was awesome, 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 awesome. You know, everything happens for a reason. The light is out, so that means Melissa Longo must read, and you won't be disappointed. Melissa Longo.
Thank you, Chip. Hello, everyone. Wow. So, James, that was amazing. Russ, so great to see you. Awesome poetry, and I love the new one too. Thank you for sharing. So good to see familiar faces as well as some new ones. And I have 2 poems to share with you, and I hope you enjoy them. If not, let me know. Just be like, okay. uh, this is called The Color Theory. Talk to me in your language. Teach me how to comprehend you with syntax, adjectives, and complete sentences. Yes, even when they run. Let them run on and on as they run into the colors, a prism, collecting the primary group, blues, reds, yellows, as they grow, grow, and grow, from seeds to flowering bushels. Do you not see the inwards of things, pinks, blacks, and whites, creating the anatomy, intersecting at the joints, like a moving rainbow? Talk to me in your ways. Teach me how to comprehend the whom, you, with light, love, and respect. Yes, even when we express doubt. Let them be, let them run and scream, as they scream into the colors, a prism, collecting the togetherness, the grouping, the oranges, the greens, and violets, as they turn to and fro. Do you see it yet?
Thank you so much, Melissa. I really appreciate you
I
as
appreciate you.
always.
May I share another poem? Is that okay?
Absolutely. But before
Okay.
you do, I just want to let people know that
Yes.
you are on Poetry Street on the road. Also, do you remember which episode you are?
I don't remember. I'm so
You
sorry.
don't remember? I'll let you know in just a minute. I'll pull up the list, okay? All right, but you can check out Melissa on poetrystreetontheroad.com, on our Poetry Street on the Road, the film, as well as the episodes, and we'll find out the episodes. Okay, go ahead, Melissa.
Okay, thank you so much, Chip.
You're
Uh,
welcome.
so this one is called The Tree of Life. The tree of life has many meanings, originating from a sapling to a strong tree. This is what I think of when I think of my roots. Our roots. I like to think that we're from branches from this tree. I was a C-section baby in the 80s, almost dying 3 times, growing, lighting the way to my future, vying for knowledge as more roots show, as leaves leave for more alignment. Dirty but cleansed, reaching to the top. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much, Melissa. Now, for those of you who are just joining us, if you want to read, please send me a chat, and in that way we can introduce you as well as put you on the list to read during our open mic. Okay, so please do that. The chat is in the middle of the bottom of your screen, and if you really like the poems that you know or the prose, there are reaction buttons all the way to the right, and you can give them a thumbs up or an applause. Okay, so that's in the reaction button. All right, this poem is actually something I wrote a long time ago, but I keep changing it up. Looking back and knowing where we've come from, at all the obstacles that have been placed in our way, the hangings, the torture, even the many mysterious killings of some makes me wonder how I'm even alive, sane, and here today. I will not be quiet, nor will I ever forget the stories my parents and grandparents told about the sacrifices our ancestors made. It wasn't that long ago when they were captured, chained, shackled together, then shipped across the ocean, far, far away in a stockade. Even if they try to silence me by cutting off my tongue and ears, my eyes will always tell stories of the oppressor's fears. our fears, our stories. Oh, my beautiful brothers and sisters, we are the proud descendants of those who were treated worse than barren dirt, whose fathers and mothers were beaten, bought, sold, rented, and traded. There are no words that could even begin to describe the magnitude of our hurt. Everything about us, they told us, was hated. Slave owners didn't care about separating an African man from his family. They were only concerned with their own satisfaction, status, wealth. To them, we were all just a commodity. They didn't give a damn how we felt. Slavery, a human being owned by another in these United States land of the free, America. America, I would not be quiet, hold my peace, or get over it. I take slavery, our nation's horrid past, present, and future very personally. And as long as I have breath, I will continue to tell our stories. My great-grandfather's father, Peter, was born enslaved. $538 is the amount he was appraised. Listed, Negro boy, on the inventory sheet of slave owner Allen T. Overby, who was recently deceased. Then Peter was then bequeathed as property to another slave owner I condemn and shame more by not mentioning the name to whom he was released. At the age of 7, Peter was separated from his family, peeled right from the loving arms of his weeping mother Jenny, snatched, shirt soaking wet with the tears of his brothers Frank, age 4, and 2-year-old Joe. Did Peter ever see his family again? It hurts to say years I've searched, but I still don't know. Slavery, poison heirloom, passed down from one generation to the next generation, beginning at birth. My ancestors, just like so many of your ancestors, lived an entire life with very little or no hope at all in sight. So no, there are no words that could adequately describe and no words that could ever excuse our hurt. No matter what anyone says about slavery, it just wasn't right. Now, America, there is still time to start the healing process from the scars of history, but by first telling the truth. Yes, the truth. The reality. This nation, America, was formed, founded, and has still been governed with ideology embedded in racism, sexism, and other horrendous and inhumane atrocities. Native American genocide and slavery are just two of the deep scars in America's history. So America, please learn from these mistakes and don't lose sight before it's too late. Understand any action fueled with hate, white supremacy ideology, fear, homophobia, sexism, or racism just isn't right. Please learn and not to lose sight. Separating young children from their parents and family members at the borders, treating people's precious lives, hopes and dreams of a better life inhumanely just isn't right. Killing our Black men, women, and children like their lives don't matter. Making policies, laws, and degrading systems designed to put and keep Black people and people of color down in poverty, depressed, and in prison just isn't right. If this idea of America being truly the land of the free, then liberty, justice, and equality must be inclusive, including people who look like you and me. We must register our people to vote, y'all. We must all vote these spineless Republicans out of office in the local races and vote that evil man out of office in November. So please vote. Thank you. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to introduce you to one of my favorite people in the whole wide world. Her name is Gladys Henderson. She is the poet laureate. She's the former poet laureate, Gladys Henderson. She's a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful lady. Gladys Henderson. Gladys, are you there?
I unmuted. Can you hear me now?
Yes,
okay.
I can hear you.
Good. That's great. Thanks so much.
Thank
Wow,
you.
what a great reading. What a great reading. And Chip, thank you so much again for coordinating this and looking at, and Maggie, every time I look at it, I feel like we're sort of like in a huge living room, uh, right next to each other. I mean, a gigantic living room, and we're just here with each other, you know? It's just wonderful. Anyway, I have a poem I'm going to read to you, which I love to read because it's a little bit about how my life is, which is sometimes, and it's always been that way, that I'm not really getting to do what I need to do about my own self and about my own growth, and that somehow I neglect that, and I get behind in that work. So this poem is called In Arrears, and it could go on literally forever because it's meant to be read as a day turns, as though one sequence is a day. And if it's read again, it's another day. And if it's read again, it's a third day. But rather than to have you fall off your chairs, I'll read only 2 sequences of it, okay? In arrears. It falls early morning, sure as death. Before you realize it has arrived at the back sill, on the flowers, the figure of St. Francis, newly laid carpets, the bathroom floor, on your books, the fish tank, and you deny it is another day when light measures time, accomplishment, and you know you've come up short in somebody else's dreams while your own lay fallow, aborted seeds in the earth of unrealized possibility. It falls early morning, sure as death, before you realize it has arrived at the back sill, on the flowers, the figure of St. Francis, newly laid carpets, the bathroom floor, and on your books, the fish tank, and you deny it is another day when light measures time, accomplishments, and you know you've come up short in someone else's dream while your own lay fallow, aborted seeds in the earth of unrealized possibility. So,
That was really, really nice. Hey, Anesthesia, we're going to want you to read one more poem a little bit later, if that's okay. Sorry for putting you on the spot, but for later, okay? So, but right now we want to go to Christina M. Raul. And if I'm pronouncing your name wrong, please correct me when you come on, okay? And she's from Lynbrook. Christina.
Hi everyone. Yeah,
Good.
it rhymes with wow. So
okay.
Wow, yeah. So great stuff, everybody. This is a reading series I haven't been to, so that's the beauty of Zoom. I can make it here and not have to get in my car, so that's a good thing. I'm going to read you a poem called Sometimes There Are Dolphins. On a warm morning, a sun salute. Sun breath stretched, feet rooted and balanced on a mat on a rooftop overlooking the ocean beyond the boardwalk. Out there, floating at the line, barges move slow, and closer, surfers in wetsuits slicking through tubes in a glimmer of foam and salt. And in the stretch between, sometimes there are dolphins, distracting from the focus of the feet on a board, on a deck, on a mat, on a rooftop. They break above the surface and dive back down, a pod cycling like a wheel, 5 or 6, or maybe the same 3 over and again, blue, gray, sleek, churned, distracting from inhale, exhale, down dog and up. They reappear for air and then go under and forwards, cutting through the dark waters, becoming light with sun rays growing hot to shine through a mirrored surface. Way out there where water is water, natural and unmanned, out there in the open sea, no land in sight, sometimes there are dolphins, exciting the guests standing at big bay windows on the dining deck who watch the wake of the ship not expecting anything more. Startled swift bodies break the wake, moving as fast as the ship, faster still, and disappear moving under and above and under again. There are dolphins always out there, the same as sharks, the same as whales, the same as coral and kelp. all things invisible until they make themselves known. The same as the twinge in the back in Baby Cobra, the same as the twinge in the stomach when he'd asked for a hand, the same as the skipped beat in the pulse in the vinyasa on the mat on the rooftop overlooking the boardwalk on the shore. Sometimes there's a dolphin pose in the practice, slow moving, a body shaking, forearms pressed down, torso lowering, hovering, pushing heart towards thighs. Upside down under big sky on a summer morning, when surfers dash and barges float and ships out at sea drift towards isles yet to be seen. Sometimes there are dangers. Sometimes there are delights. Sometimes there are distractions beyond the edge of the body, the mat, the mind, the roof, the heart, the walk, the sand, the wind, the breath, the boat, the thin line of sky, where the ocean rounds off and then down, out of sight.
Wow. Thank you so much. And it's wonderful that, that we're all here, but we're from all over the United States. And that's a wonderful thing about Zoom. Next, we have one of our featured poets on Poetry Street on the Road, Nina Yavel. And Nina is from Greenport.
Hi, Chip.
Hi, Nina.
Thank you. This is wonderful. And thank you, Russ, for your amazing poetry, which I just really love to hear. And everybody who has read so far, just incredible. And
Oh, good to see you, Nina.
Yeah, it's great to see you. You know, I'm kind of in a state of unrest today because a good friend of mine is not doing well. And I was going to read a poem that I had written to another friend who passed away many years ago. And I just couldn't do it. It was just too emotional. So I'm going to read you a poem that I wrote. It's kind of in the way that, I guess you know Edith Sitwell, who used to write poetry to music, to foxtrots and things like that. She was quite a gal. She was like 98 when she died, I think, and she invented her own language. It was really quite incredible. So this poem is called The Photograph. Let me make sure I have it. Oh, yes, okay. A momentary lapse and a universe is born, a single singularity, a pose, a momentary breath at the breathlessness of dawn, an opening, a passage through the doors, a momentary space for the petals of the rose, for the growing, for the loving, for the cause, a momentary flutter and a universe is torn, another singularity, a pause, a momentary rest at the restlessness withdrawn, an emptying, a smothering repose, a momentary space for the holding of the light, for the flutter and the yearning to compose, a momentary shudder at the center of the light, a single singularity, a pose.
Nice, nice. You have another one for us, Nina?
I was going to just, what was on my mind and what I was feeling as I was hearing beautiful poetry today was a poem called Prayer. My body sings, and from each branch, the wind receives its bread and mouths the wine. We are praying, you and I, hallowed incantations to spirits resting beneath our breath, souls sharing the sanctity of flesh.
Nice. Thank you so much, Nina. Again, Nina you can hear more from Nina on Poetry Street on the Road, the YouTube series. Just go to poetrystreetontheroad.com. I'm going to call on one of our co-founders, one of our founders. This man is incredible. He's been awarded every Man of the Year from every organization, from Riverhead to wherever in Suffolk County. Bubby Brown is my mentor, someone that I really just admire so much. He's incredible, and he's one of the founders of Poetry Street. Bubby Brown.
I want to thank you, Chip, for setting this thing all up, and I'm so in admiration for all of the poets that have done things today. The new people that I haven't heard of before. It's just incredible how this thing keeps migrating and from heart to heart, and I'm so happy and blessed to be a part of it. And I want to share this poem with you, and the name of it is I Am, and my wife co-titled it A Poem of Hope and Comfort. It goes, I am. You may be in need of time. I can provide a year, a week, or hour. When you find your energy failing, I've got that Holy Ghost power. All your friends deserted you. Their hearts suddenly grown colder. You can always find comfort on my warm, comfortable shoulder. Family disown you? Close their doors for one reason or another. I am the one who constantly sticks closer than a brother. Your resources all dried up, plus you're in failing health. I can heal and cure you too, and I have boundless wealth. If all your days are filled with torture, sadness, and sorrow, I am that ray of sunshine that will welcome your tomorrow. I am that still soft voice that calls when no one seems to care. Demons flee to someplace else when you kneel down to pray. If your throat is parched and dry, you search for an oasis. Just call my name. You know I am your water in dry places. Lost in life, way to turn down the highway that needs paving. You picked me up, dusted me off, because you thought I was worth saving. Whatever we're in need of God, I am the Lamb. I am all that you will ever need. I am the great I am.
Bobby, thank you so much.
And I like to do one that I did a real long time ago. It's kind of one of these flights of fantasy poems. And one of the verses I have to update from now for every now and then. It's called Impossibilities. Impossibilities. Here's a thunderous collision. Two fish bumping in a tank. Measure the magnitude of blood an aged mosquito has drank. Collect the riches of the world. Place them in a mini sack. Then balance them precariously on the point of a thumbtack. A suitor chasing his life's flame with gifts of love, he sought her. The suitor's name, some guy named Trump. The flame, Obama's daughter. Gaze upon the universe after the world has gone to bed, then count your blessings one by one and tell me God is dead. Weigh your conscience on a scale, the good against the bad. Good side ascend, the bad descend. Your judgment, woe, is sad. The world is a utopia. Troubles traded for tranquility. All war washed away in a mother's tears. Impossibilities.
Thank you so much.
And again, thank you, Chip.
It's my pleasure, Bubby. You know, this is such an honor for me to be co-hosting with Maggie Bloomfield. You know, it says a lot when your co-host is an Emmy winner. Does that kind of like rub off on me? I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway.
It's rubbing. It's rubbing.
It's rubbing. I'm going to take it anyway. Okay, so speaking of Maggie, let's have Maggie read. Maggie Bloomfield.
This is so awesome. I can't, it's so wonderful to be here. I'm going to read something I haven't read in a long time. There's so many pressing issues right now, and there's one that has become even more pressing because of the other two. And maybe I want to read this poem because I worked in the field for such a long time. But anyway, this poem, I do have a book. I do want to tell you about my book.
Please.
It's called Sleepless Nights, and you can get it on Amazon. The poem I'm going to read is not from the book. This poem is called America Blue from the Crack House. Oh, say, we could all so clearly see the beautiful, spacious red sky. Morning, be warned. Blackbirds screeching, preferable to the fucking hissed off, pissed off blue jays, so proudly hailing the twilight's last dulling through bliss blunt hangovers, bangovers. What's supposed to be a working Tuesday, like anyone except Jesse could tolerate, head squeal of the number 7. Watching the people across the car, wondering how they manage to do this every day. No proud hailing as the kaboom shatters her prefrontal cortex and limbic longs for amber waves of Jack Daniels. The honey residued Coke spoon remembers the clatter of such spoon banging the syringe that mainlined Jose lying smack on the floor, dying. Clock house that cracked pipes open when dawn's early light brought neon sirens. Neighbors busted Tyrone over the Purple Mountain's majesty of his girlfriend's left eye. Loud bitch finished his dope. Jimbo's dropped cracked crumb on all fours, crawling the carpet of fruited plain of ecstasy. Bright striped starred club kids raving over Dumbo-eared plates of K. God shed his blue light on this neighborhood, brotherhood, garbage head, frat house, and rehab, doing good for the man. Teaching trade tricks from the mountains of meth and blow to the prairies of Oxycontin to the ocean white with dust. Liberty crowned with bundles, kilos, condoms welcoming the trashed, tired, the hammered poor, yearning to breathe.
The bitter earth has borne us all. With parts of herself she reserves, different but also same. Same blood from her, the bitter earth. Okay, James, you take it away.
All right. I'm going to perform the poem that I probably performed on the Poetry Street on the road. If you haven't checked that out, go check it out. I haven't even checked it out yet, so I'm going to see it after this probably.
The website is poetrystreetontheroad.com. With that. Okay, James, take it away.
All right. This was inspired by the George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, and Ahmaud Arbery uprisings.
Yes.
I mean, what is there really left to say? George Floyd, Ahmaud, and Breonna Tay meet Philandro, Tamir, and Freddie Gray. The dispatcher told Zimmerman to walk away, controlling hate halfway. We just trying to be equal, but can't breathe on your knees on the neck of my people. The methods are lethal. LA riots, this is the sequel. We seen this movie played out like we watched it at Regal. The chokehold's illegal, but they making laws for that. And that'll wipe the slate clean like a laundromat. Took thousands to die before they acknowledged that. That shit won't bring Eric Garner back. That shit won't bring black fathers back. And Queens on the scenes kids be marching that. 50 shots from the cops, not Shambell in the heavens. They didn't care the next day that man had a wedding. A month before the year 2007. A non-black man gunned down by the weapon because he fit the profile, so they say he was threatening. He took his very last breath and he was murdered in seconds. And this is where my blood pressure rises. Either God gonna guide us or we bring in the violence. Either they survive or we the survivors. They want to crucify us all because we the messiahs. We the alliance. The news said that we were the riots. Cops want us all quiet, protesting in silence. Look down from the pilots. Helicopters are flying while mothers are crying. The government spying. Still got nightmares waking up to the sirens. You really a wild, and if you think that I'm lying, don't listen to the info that the schools are providing. I shine like a diamond, getting closer to Zion. I'm keeping it private, just watching the climate. Slavery was genocide, but we really survived it. Africans on boats, the Europeans were pirates. Starved them all on a ship like they was all on a diet. And by the way, I never heard of Antifa. All I hear is Black Lives Matter through the speakers. Trump got the military in to defeat us, tear gas the crowd as we run in our sneakers. Look how far he goes to try to beat us. Photo ops at church, I guess he doing it for Jesus. America elected him to try to lead us, but he's got the impression like he don't really need us. Well, guess what? We don't need you too. Let's bring democracy back. I think that book overdue. I hope the next chapter has less blacks in prison, but less black victims and no racism.
Good luck with that. No, actually, we're working for that. That's why we're out there protesting. And I just want to say, I appreciate everyone out there. You know, the white people, the brown people, the black people, the Asian people, the Caribbean people, the Trinidadian people. You know, all the people, the Native American people. We appreciate everyone out there. All right, and if anyone else wants to read again, you may put your name in the chat and let me know so I can call on you. Okay? All right, Anastasia.
All right. Thank you, Chip. All right, so this poem was written when someone at my old job was trying to try me, but she didn't know that I'm not that bitch. So, without further ado, this one is called Resolutions. The solution is not to hate me, my love, for I lie awake wondering if you do. And if you did, it would make everything worth it. I picture your face, just as I remember it, and I imagine it contorting into disgust at the mention of my name and all that I have done to right your wrongs. Vengeance is not complete until all the feelings are born, till they are born within you and age slowly and die agonizingly within the confines of your mind and your bones. Vengeance is not complete until I see the first sign of victory in the corner of your mouth the next time I see you, in the raise of your brow, the way your voice cracks ever so faintly as you do your best to act like you don't care. Therein lies my victory, and it is small, but I will wait for it. These are my life's trophies. Yeah.
Wow. I see you standing there, looking, glaring, staring at me. But you don't realize that it's not really me that you see. You think you know who I am, but that's not true because the true me will never, ever be revealed to you. I don't trust you. Not when you say it's okay to be myself, go ahead and do it anyway. Sure, you laugh and you smile all up in my face while you keep a couple birds in the bush just in case. Low down, dirty shame. You think I don't know whom to blame? I won't mention your name, but I assure you, I will beat you at your own game. It's stupid, dumb, silly, and dull. Messing with me is as dangerous as the crossbone and skull. Don't cross me, or you'll be so very sorry you did. And remember, my friend, nothing is forever hid. So think about that very carefully as you stand over there, glaring, staring, looking at me.
Yes, Chip, okay.
All right, I just had to answer back to that. All right, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay, Christina, you got something for us?
Sure, I can read another one.
Awesome, thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Oh, thank
and Nina,
you.
I'm coming for you.
Okay, this is called I'm Gone. Been listening to One Fast Move or I'm Gone, the soundtrack to Kerouac's Big Sur, and it's as if I've been listening for years, never stopping, always looping, and making the lyrics my life, even when I'm not sure of every word, and even when I can't remember if I read Big Sur, and if I did read it, if I understood it, and I probably didn't, because I love him the way any woman loves a man who drinks and writes and runs around on her, and his words mean everything to my little heart, even though I never quite get them, because they exist always out of reach and fast, typed, scrolled, and pounded, and I could never live a life like that. And still, I listen to the lilt and twang, and I hold hope that something gives so I can finally let go.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And before we go to our next one, I'm going to ask our feature poet, Russ, if he has another poem for us.
Yeah, I was looking for the unmute button. Yes.
Yeah, first of all, Russ, I just want to say you are really incredible. And if anyone ever has a chance to see Russ in person, He puts himself into his art. We're talking about, he does this motion with his body as he says his poetry, and he is just something to watch. Okay, Russ Green, everyone.
Thank you, Chip.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I gotta move, man. I've been known to dance when there's no music. All right, so yeah, here's one more. Yes, another older poem. It's a poem that I wrote a couple years ago for my mom, who passed a couple 2.5 years ago. Those who don't know, and so her birthday's coming up on what was her birthday was coming up on Monday, so I thought I would read this. All right, last Tuesday morning. Your passing resurrected a voicemail from 3 years ago when you said Hollyoaks, Batman, while passing through Holyoke, Massachusetts on your way to Vermont, after which I called and replied Chicopee. Because it's right after Holyoke on Route 91, and because in the movie Nell, upon being found in the woods after being raised alone by her mother and developing their own homespun English together in an isolated cabin, the first thing Jodie Foster says in a tender voice to the small town doctor who rescues her is Chicopee. It was our silly way. We had a connection many sons and mothers aren't lucky enough to have. The resurrection happens at traffic lights when memories rain from backdrop of soft transient shades of silver restless sky. It happens at Chinese takeout where I remember you eating tiny corn cobs, rabbit-like, recreating the way Tom Hanks did it in the movie Big. It happens on my various devices. It happens driving past Rockefeller Center, Radio City, and the Hippodrome, the only garage where you park your car in New York City. It happens over wine glasses, over lemon peels twisted in the cavernous concourse of Grand Central Station underneath its backward stars.
Wow, thank you so much.
Thank you, Chip. Thank you, Maggie and Susan and Gladys and everyone, Christina and everybody who came. Beautiful.
Thank you. Before we go to Nina and Melissa, I just want to point out that I have some great family members that are here, and they're not poets, but I just want to give them an opportunity to say something.
Hi, everyone. I'm Anna Harbin. I live in Crete, Illinois. And I've really been enjoying your poetry today, all of you. It's just been such a joy to listen to your craft, and just keep it up. It's very inspiring, very uplifting, and very encouraging to hear your words. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Anna. And I just want to touch bases with my cousin, Kimberly and Mo. Kimberly Williford, she's from Maryland. Say something, please.
Hey, Chip. I'm going to read Miracle's poem.
Awesome.
Miracle gave me a little poem she wrote.
Awesome.
So Miracle is my 13-year-old, and I told her we're in here with Cousin Chip, and they're doing poems. So I said, why don't you write a little poem? She said, I don't know anything about no poem. I said, just write whatever comes to your mind. And so she gave me her little poem, and she was like, you read it. I'm not going to read it. And don't tell me it came from me, Mommy. I said, but it's cute. So her poem says, rain may fall. Rain may fall when we're down. Rain may fall when we lose people. Rain may fall when we're not together. Rain may fall when we're happy. Rain may fall for the rest of this year. Rain may fall even when we pray to God. Rain may fall when we can't be reunited. Rain may fall, but that's all right. Miracle Bates, 13 years old, wanted to pay for her cousin Chip.
Thank you so much, Miracle. And please give Miracle a big old hug from her cousin Chip, because I love her so much, and I love you so much, Kim, and I really appreciate you and Mo and Miracle and Carrington for always having my back and being there for me. I want to go back to Nina, but I just want to say, I'm not going to put the rest of my family members on the spot, but I just want to say thank you to Anna and Jeremy and Robin and Jennifer. And I'm going to put my other cousin, Jennifer Robinson, on the spot a little bit later. But right now, we are going to go to Susan Dingle, who is our founder of Poetry Street, and she's going to read us a couple poems. Susan Dingle.
Thank you,
I know
Chip.
she's there.
Thank
There
you,
you
Chip.
are.
Thank you, everybody. This is just so amazing. It's so precious to be together like this, and the poetry is awesome. I want to read this this poem. Is not in my book, but I just want to say that today is the last day to pre-order my book in Pilgrim Drag from Finishing Line Press. So if you go to www.finishinglinepress.com, you could pre-order it, and that would be really awesome, and I would be so grateful. This is called We Walk on Stolen Land. It's a land acknowledgement for the people of the Shinnecock Nation. We walk on stolen land called Paumanok, that name Whitman loved, most recently appropriated by a vineyard on the North Fork, vines grown on stolen land, a bitter harvest, across the water from a golf course on the South Fork, also carved from stolen land. The bones of elders buried deep within the hills north of the railroad, ancestral remains beneath the fairway and the rough, sacred burial places stolen from the Shinnecock more than a century ago, appropriated as eminent domain, a railroad's right of way. The colonists, the settlers, conquistadors who landed at Conscience Point have no conscience until 400 years later. We, their descendants, discover our ancestors from Southold stole property, still perpetuate genocide, for still we walk on stolen land. Yet the Shinnecock persist. They hold their language in memory, teach it to their children, community center after school. Now their voices powwow deep and shrill in the September night. Drums beat and gourds rattle as dancers enter the ring. Heartbeat of dancers from every tribal nation celebrate this history never silenced, this people of Paumanok. Thank you.
I know you have another one in there, Susan.
That you want? Okay.
Yes, thank you.
This is breaking news. Poetry Street, Portland. It's breaking news because I am going to be moving to Portland, and I'm going to be taking Poetry Street with me.
Not all of Poetry Street.
And no. And the idea that's going to get all the people from Portland on the Zoom. It's the Zoom. That is the room without the roof. So this is breaking news, Poetry Street, Portland. I am coming out to join the line of moms, arms locked, as seen on Twitter feed in clouds of tear gas, protecting our children who are out in the street protesting because it is their First Amendment right, and it is our duty as moms and parents to protect them. I am coming out to join the line of moms, although I will first have to sell my house and move across country to do it. Not a problem, because I am a poet, and poets are first responders too, for we see the writing on the wall and we interpret the meaning of every sign. A nation in peril, let every voice be heard, for that is the call of Poetry Street. from 6 years ago and counting in Riverhead, and then on the road on Zoom. And now I am taking the gospel of Poetry Street out to Portland, where voices are choking in tear gas and people are weeping in the street, but never defeated, never intimidated. And I am joining the line of moms because that is where our poetry must be, on the front line, speaking the courage of our children, protecting with our lives the sacred witness that they bear.
Thank you so much, Susan. And you know, I don't know what we're going to do without you, and we're going to definitely miss you in Portland. But
I forgot to say that my son is in Portland, and my rainbow family of grandchildren who've already been in their first protest march with my African-American granddaughter holding a sign saying, "My life matters." So I will be with them.
well, we're definitely going to miss you, but I know that they're going to be glad to have you so close to them, and we can definitely understand that. Okay, we're wrapping things up now. Maggie, or would you like to say anything?
Okay, I have to pull myself together now. I knew about Susan, but it's tough to take in. I have that poem, if you want me to close with
Please.
that. Okay, it's called To the Voices in My Head. I do not apologize to you. I do not apologize to you. I do not apologize to you. Nothing I could say could wipe away your indignation at my being me. What you see is not what you see, what you want me to be. If my eyes were brown instead of blue, it would not satisfy. You want me down, and I am up, 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 designed to overflow this cup of life. No matter how many no's you hand me with supposed affection focused on control, I have another role. Not daughter, friend, or wife, not slave to negative ambition. I have another mission: to move, to dance, grow tall as redwoods if I choose, despite your bullying childhood taunts, the labels that haunt the poorest nature of my past and future. The wild child you call slut, resenting the guts I have to navigate existence without resistance. It's your insistence I drum from my mind. Unwind the tapes of no, 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 refuse to ooze into the mold of old, old, old. I'm finishing your diminishing, dismissing your idealizing, your list of perfect features that sabotages God's perfect creatures. The message is the message. It's a mess about age. You clutter up my stage. I'm whiting out the page and covering it with rant. Don't tell me I can't transcend the ravages of age with the power of my rage. Your messages of no, of stop and end must go. I do not apologize. I do not apologize. I do not apologize to you.
And on that note, I think that we can end on that, because you are just amazing. And for anyone that wants to see that performance again, the YouTube channel, Poetry Street on the Road. Maggie is reciting the very same poem on Poetry Street on the Road. And with that being said, if there's anyone else that wants to say something, now is your time.
Thank you, everybody, for coming.
Thank you all for coming.
I just want to say thank you, Chip, for the invite. This was very uplifting. You all are committed to your craft, and it came it came across. So thank you for sharing your talent.
Thank you so much, Helen.
Thank you for being with us.
Thank you.
Thank you all so much. This is beautiful.
Oh, Russ, so wonderful to hear your work again.
Yes.
But he used a little Kelly, but it's all right.
Yeah, so where was Kelly?
I heard that.
I was being the beautiful assistant, according to
Why don't you be the beautiful assistant that reads a poem?